Hello. So today we're going to talk about ways to know you marry well. So number one is you are better together. So marrying well is about finding a spouse who makes you better. So when you find a spouse who makes you better, then you know that you have married well. Personally, have become so much better by being married to my husband. And I tell you, he will say the same about me. So in marriage, you're going to rub off on each other. So when the rubbing starts to happen, you need to be married to someone who will add to your life, not someone that will rather take away from your life. So it is good you marry someone who will add to your life, because marriage have the power to make you better along the way. So but you must be married to someone who is willing to take that journey with you, because there are a lot of marriages that the man is not willing to take the journey with the woman, or the woman is not willing to take the journey with the man. So but if you married a man who is ready to take the journey with you by pushing you, toward becoming the best version of yourself, spiritually, physically, and mentally, then you will know that you have married well. That is the only way you know you married well. A supportive spouse, a spouse who is ready to tell you the truth about yourself, a spouse you can actually ask about how you're doing. You can ask your spouse, I heard this about myself out there. Am I really like that? You understand? So a spouse that can tell you nothing but the truth. If what people say outside there really defines you, your spouse should be able to tell you that. Many a times my husband will come back and say, look at what I had. Somebody said that I am stubborn. I will say, he will ask me, am I really stubborn? I will look at him, I'll tell him, no, you're not stubborn. I will define him to tell him, this is who you are, not what they see, because they have not seen beyond this. And that is why they can tell you that. I have heard when somebody told me I am toxic, and I came back home, I asked my husband, honey, am I toxic? He looked at me. He said, no. Why would somebody ever even say that you're toxic? I said, well, because truly this person doesn't know me. This person has not been with me. This person has not had a one-on-one relationship with me. But because the person had something, and this thing was one-sided, the person just concluded that I am toxic. And by the time the person called me and asked me, some questions, by the time I explained what happened that they reported to her, she couldn't withdraw her words, because she felt like, she wrongly judged me. But you have told me I'm toxic in the public. You understand? So when I told my husband, the husband said, no, you're not toxic. When he defined me, I saw that, yeah, that is me. So, you need a spouse that will understand you, a spouse that supports you, a spouse who know who you are, a spouse that can tell you the truth about yourself. There are some actions I take that my husband will tell me nothing but the truth, that this thing is you. There are things that will happen, and if I tell my husband it is not me, he will say, yes, I know it is not you. So you understand? So that is why marrying well entails having a spouse who is ready to go on the journey with you. Second reason is you fight fair. Yes, you fight fair. How do you know you married well? There is nothing wrong with disagreement in marriages. So no, there is nothing wrong. Two different people with two different ideas, different opinions and feelings, are bound to disagree. Yes, you're bound to disagree. But it is not about what you fight about, but it is all about how you fight it. It is all about how you fight it, not what you fight about. So when you marry well, you found someone who is willing to communicate and converse in a way that brings solution and intimacy, not in a way that brings isolation and contention. No. When you have this, you know that you married well. The number 3 reason is you support one another. If your husband is your biggest fan and you're his biggest fan also, then you should know that you have married well. Because my husband is my biggest fan and he supports everything I do. And there is nothing I go into that he's not aware. And he will, in fact, solidly support me. So if you have a man who supports you, then you should know that you have married well. I used to have a neighbor where the husband does not support. She brought up an idea, and this idea was actually a productive idea, an idea that will support the home financially. And the husband never supported the idea. Even when she went ahead with, this is a dream, this is her dream, her goal in life, but the husband does not support it. When she went ahead carrying out this, the husband did everything to destroy it. And I was so shocked. I was like, you don't mean it. How do you marry like this? How do you blend? Because I can't imagine myself living with a man who will not support my dream. You will not support her working, yet you cannot provide for her. You will not support her dream in life. She went to school, she studied, she wants to be so thing, and you don't support it. And anytime you see her doing something to help herself, you do everything to destroy it. That means you have not married well. For you to know that you have married well, you must have a man who supports you, a man who is your biggest fan in every of your accomplishments. He's your biggest fan. He supports you. He wants you to grow. In fact, he supports your dream. In fact, he even reminds you of your passion. And he wants you to carry out what you're passionate about. That is a man who supports you. So you have married well. If you have such a man, you have married well. If you have such a woman, you have married well. You know, in a good marriage, you don't compete with one another, but what? You support one another. The 4th reason is you enjoy one another's company. For you to know that you have married well, you enjoy one another's company. You can't just do without the person. Your spouse become your best friend. It is not like you will not have friends out there or community that you have around you to thrive. No, you have. But your spouse becomes your best friend, your best confidant, someone you can run to at any time, someone you can wake up at any time, someone that can give you their best advice, their best ideas, in whatsoever you want to do. For you to know you have married well, you must have a spouse who you cannot do without. A spouse you cannot go out alone without them. A spouse that 24/7 you have to connect. A spouse that you do everything together, then you know that you have married well. In marrying well, there is no one out there that you spend time with that is better than your spouse. In fact, your best time is spent with them. Your best time is spent with your spouse. That is when you know that, yes, because everything you do, be it at work or whatsoever you're doing, you think about them. You just want to be with them. You can't get tired of being with them. If you be with them from January to December, you won't get tired. I remember a certain time, I think when we just got married, and I and my husband had issues, and I was just so angry. I needed to just walk out of the house, and I didn't want to sleep in the house. So, and I left the house to my brother's place. Do you know that I could not sleep? As in, I was just like, what is this? I just could not close my eyes without seeing my husband. I was like, why can't I sleep? But I was so angry with him, and I needed to just let him be. I needed to stay away. Why can't I just stay here? I have to return back that night. Imagine when you have become friends to the extent that even in anger, you just cannot stay away from the person. I felt, how can I be sleeping here when my husband is not here? Well, what am I doing here? Whatsoever it is, I should go back home and settle it. Because to me, if we don't settle that night, I can't sleep. So the best is for me running away from the problem. I need to go back and settle it. In settling it, I was able to sleep. So, but it has become something that he's my best friend, someone that we could be awake at night gisting, talk about everything. Wherever I have issues, or is it at work, or he's ready to put me through. He's ready to give me advice that will help me. I think my husband has become my best friend in everything I do in life. And to the extent that if I'm doing a thing and without giving me his input in it, I just feel I have not started. You understand? I want to know what he thinks about this thing, and I want him to put his own idea in it. And oftentimes, when I discuss a situation or a challenge with him, his ideas add with mine used to give me a good result. I now know that this is my friend. This is somebody we think alike. This is somebody that will always support me no matter what. So, for you to know that you have married well, you must have this in your spouse. Someone who is there for you. We share ideas and we do things together. If I'm doing something wrong, he calls my attention. If he's going wrong, I call his attention. We are not perfect people, but we are imperfect people striving to be perfect. So I often need his, input. He needs mine. I need his idea. He needs mine for us to keep pushing in life. And for you to know you have married well, you must see this in your spouse. Then the fifth reason is you grow together. For you to know you have married well, you need to have a spouse that you grow together. Marrying well doesn't mean you cover one another's flaws. No. Because the reality is, through marriage, you will likely expose everyone's flaws. What someone outside, what even my friends will not tell me, my husband will tell me in marriage. And he will tell me bluntly. It's not like you're going to beat around the bush. It's not like you're going to cover. You need to make me know so that when I'm going out there, I should be able to change it. It's an attitude that is disgusting. He will tell me. Then I noticed that I used to pick my nose a lot. So my husband will tell me, you pick your nose a lot. It's bad. Because you might be sitting in the office with people, maybe in a meeting or maybe in a dinner, and without you knowing, you just put your finger in your nose. Corrected me many times, not just once. So many times he keep reminding me of that, habit. And I had to make an extra effort to put a stop to it. I got so used to it, but today I see myself not doing that. So you see, in marriage, you will be told nothing but the truth. And it is there you'll be able to know that, okay, you need to do your best. You grow together, and not covering one another's flaws, which I used to tell my husband. Anytime I see him do something, I say, baby, this thing you're doing is not good though. You might see yourself forgetting and you go and do it outside. So can you put a stop to that? I correct, and he corrects me. We grow together. We grow to perfection. We strive to be good to one another. Because no one is perfect. And there will always be a level of flaws that comes out through the context of marriage. So that is it. No one is perfect in marriage. So we will oftentimes have flaws coming up. But when you marry well, you will find a spouse who is willing to acknowledge their sins. Yes, when you have a spouse who is willing to acknowledge their sins and their struggles, they confess and grow and seek change. When you find that your spouse is doing all this, you know that you're growing together each step by step. That is how it should be. You will find that the person you are married to today is different from the person you married to years ago. That is when you know that you're growing together. Because this person is even better and wiser and kinder than when you first married them. So then you now know that you're growing together in that marriage. You find that willingness to grow in your relationship with one another. That willingness to grow in your relationship with one another. And most importantly, yet your relationship with God. That is when you know that you have married well. Most importantly, with your relationship with God. You will notice that when you were single, you were not so close to God. But you have married today, both of you pray together. Both of you do the will of God together. You search the Bible together. You talk to yourselves together. You preach to yourselves. You correct your ways together. In love, you correct yourselves. Then you now know that you have married well. So, to those of you who have married well, just go and give your spouse a kiss. Show your appreciation that you have married well. Just commit to continue growing, loving, and choosing marriage day by day. Then for my singles out there, strive to marry well. How will you know that you're going to marry well? You start with the relationship you are in now. If the relationship is well, you would know that you're going to marry well. If you can believe in marrying well, then look at these things I have mentioned and see if your relationship is going well, if both of you are growing well. See if you can find all these I have mentioned in your relationship. Then you will know that you are going to marry well. It will surely end up in marrying well. But if you have issues and if you see that all that I have mentioned here is not what you see in your relationship, I will only appeal with you to just leave. Because if you end up marrying that person, you're going to have issues. And to my women out there who are married and they have seen that they've not married well because of all the issues in your home, the only thing I can tell you is that you can keep praying and keep working in that marriage. Keep working together. My guys, you have married and you know that your marriage is not going well. You can keep working on it and be prayerful. As you pray and you work on it, God will answer your prayer and you will become better in that marriage, and then you will know that it is possible to marry well. If you find this video interesting, give me a thumb up, subscribe to my channel, and please comment below. Share this video to your communities, to your friends, to your family. God bless you.